64-gun ship. The 64-gun ship of the line was a type of two-decker warship defined during the 18th century, named after the number of their guns. 64 guns had a lower battery of 24-pounders and an upper battery of 12-pounders. Heavier variants with 18-pounder on the upper deck also existed. History. The French Navy used 64-gun as a typology for its ships. In the British Royal Navy, such lighter two-deckers were considered to be third rates, like 74 guns and 80 guns. During the reign of Louis Roman XIV, numerous ships carried 60 or 62 guns, with a lower battery pierced for 12 guns on each side. During the reign of Louis Roman XV, standardization efforts were undertaken to rationalize the design and construction of these ships, with a common armament of 24-pounder, 12-pounder, and 8-pounder long guns. The first 64-gun in this sense was Bory, launched in 1734 and pierced with 13 gun ports on each side of her lower battery. The British started copying these ships from 1764 with HMS Asia, and also stopped building 60-gun ships. British ships had a slightly heavier broadside, as they typically carried 18-pounders on their upper gun deck, while the French would usually have 12-pounders. 64 guns were no match for 74 guns, which had a 36-pounders in France or 32-pounders in England lower battery and 18-pounders on the upper gun deck. Some later units even experimented with 24-pounders in the upper deck and were usually slower than frigates. Their main advantage were their cheaper cost and lower draft. This would be especially important for operations in India. The French built 61 of these 64-gun ships, the last one being Jason in 1779. 3 were raised, turning them into frigates capable of carrying a 24-pounder main armament, although these ships typically fell back to 18-pounders like most heavy frigates of their time. The British built 43 and maintained production a while longer, as 64 guns were useful for escorting merchant convoys. The last British 64-gun to be launched was HMS Veteran in 1787. Dimensions. Most 64-gun were one-offs, and the others were part of short series put in production in the mid-18th century. In France, the main classes of 64 guns were the Lion class, Lion, Sage and Fantasque 1751-1758. The Artesian class by Joseph Louis Olivier, Artesian, Roland, Alexander, Prote, and Evil 64 launched 10 December 1772 at Brest. The Brilliant class, Brilliant and Solitaire. The Rifleci class, Rifleci and Caton, the late 18th century 64 guns, were between 43 and 48 meters long, about 13.5 meters wide, and had a hull depth of 5 to 6 meters. Armament. French 64 guns carried the standardized armament of 26 24-pounders on the lower gun deck, 28 12-pounders on the upper gun deck, 10 6-pounders on the forecastle and quarter deck, amounting to a 510-pound broadside. British ships would typically carry 26 24-pounders on the lower gun deck, 26 18-pounders on the upper, 10 4-pounders and 2 9-pounders on forecastle and quarter deck, amounting to a 575-pound broadside. Crew. French regulations of 1 January 1786 defined the wartime crew as 538 men, while the peacetime crew was 377. This comprised 12 officers, 7 student or volunteer officers, 47 non-commissioned officers, 36 gunners of the troops de marine, 6 helmsmen, 288 seamen, 70 soldiers of the troops de marine or line infantry, 44 boys, 13 valets, and 12 others. Sources and references. Notes. Citations. Bibliography. Troud, One-Sime Joachim 1867. Batailles navales de la France in French. 2. Chelamel Ain. Cook 836,362,484. External links. Monographie du Fleuron 1729. Anchor. fr/. Archived from the original on 2011-122. Retrieved 2025-22. Maquette du Fleuron. Maquettes Marine. Page Sperceau Orange. fr/. Le Fleuron. Gérard. Delacroix. Page Sperceau Orange. fr/. La Monographie de l'Artésien 1764. Anchor. fr/. Archived from the original on 4 March 2010.